Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into something truly foundational and often, more complex than it appears, the very essence of the American lifestyle. We've pulled together insights from quite a stack of sources, touching on everything from daily rhythms and how work shapes life to eating habits, American homes,
right?
How people connect and celebrate, and even those deeper values, the American dream.
Yeah, and our mission today is really to distill all of that down, to hand you those vital nuggets of knowledge, sort of a shortcut, really, to understanding how people live, work, eat, socialize across the United States.
Right.
We're aiming for those genuine aha moments you've come to expect from us.
So if you're curious about what life truly looks like here and maybe what drives it, well, you're in the right place. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
When we talk about the rhythm of daily life for most Americans, it often seems to revolve around the work week. That classic 9-to-5 job, Monday through Friday. It's still a bedrock for, a vast number of adults. But how does that structure actually play out, minute by minute?
Well, for many, the day kicks off fairly early. Often between, say, 6 or 7 a.m., there's that morning routine, right? Getting ready, brewing coffee.
Oh yeah, the coffee.
Definitely. And a lot of people like to catch up on the news or maybe listen to a podcast as they prepare. It's kind of a rush for efficiency right from the start.
And the commute itself. That can be a whole story, can't it?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I've heard stories, people spending hours in traffic, LA maybe, their car is practically a second office.
Exactly. While in big cities, it's a completely different rhythm. You've got packed subways, busy buses.
Or bikes even.
Or bikes, yeah. It really paints a picture of how, geographically diverse America's daily grind can be. Absolutely.
Right.
Then, once the workday wraps up, there's a pretty common pattern. Returning home, maybe cook dinner, hit the gym.
Or just unwind, right? TV, social media.
Yeah, exactly. That fairly consistent evening routine is often about just carving out some personal time after what's usually a demanding day.
It sounds like a busy life. Yet you mentioned this underlying aspiration maybe to balance work and free time. I'm curious though, does that conscious effort always translate to actual balance? Or is it maybe more of an ideal given, the demand of these routines?
That's a great question. Because while the ideal is certainly balance, the reality, for many, it's a constant juggle. The very routines we just described, they often make true downtime kind of elusive.
Right.
It can lead to this culture of hustle, even in leisure time. That push for productivity, it often extends way beyond the office walls.
Okay, shifting gears a bit from routine. Let's talk food.
Ah, yes.
American meals. They can be incredibly diverse, obviously reflecting regional tastes, individual preferences. But there seem to be some common threads. What does a typical American breakfast look like?
Often it's quick, convenient, You'll find everything from maybe toast with peanut butter, eggs, perhaps.
Or just grab and go.
Totally. Or simply a grab-and-go muffin with a cup of coffee. It really varies, but efficiency seems key to starting the day for a lot of people.
And for lunch. I mentioned that's often an on-the-go thing too, especially during the work week.
Precisely. Many opt for something quick. A sandwich, a salad, maybe even fast food.
Right.
Bringing a packed lunch from home is also very common. The lunch break itself is often pretty short, kind of designed to get you fueled up and back to work without much fuss.
Dinner, though.
Yeah.
That often feels like the anchor of the day, maybe.
It often is, yeah. Dinner is typically the biggest meal, usually eaten around 6 to 7 p.m. Popular choices, things like grilled chicken, pasta dishes, maybe tacos.
Classic comfort foods.
Exactly. It's often the main sit-down meal, sometimes with family, though the timing can shift quite a bit based on people's schedules.
And we absolutely can't forget the snacking culture.
Oh, definitely not.
Americans seem big on quick bites throughout the day. Popcorn, chips, fruit, those energy bars. How do these quick, often convenient eating habits, how do they reflect the overall pace of life we've been discussing?
Oh, they absolutely reinforce it. I mean, this widespread reliance on quick breakfasts, fast lunches, frequent snacking, it really highlights a society that values efficiency and convenience, often prioritizing speed over, say, a leisurely multi-course meal. It suggests a kind of constant movement where even eating gets integrated into a busy schedule.
That drive for convenience and maybe personal space, it isn't just in their eating habits. It seems to have profoundly shaped their living environments too. Let's explore the American home. Many Americans famously live in houses rather than apartments, though of course it's a mix of city and suburban dwellers.
Indeed, suburban homes, for example, they typically boast yards, driveways, just considerably more space than you might find in many other countries.
That's a huge draw for families, I imagine.
A huge draw. In contrast, apartments are much more the norm in dense urban centers. Think New York, Chicago, places where space is really at a premium.
There's also this deeply ingrained value placed on personal space.
Yes.
It seems quite common for children to have their own bedrooms, even from a young age. Now, while that clearly highlights independence, does it also maybe mean there's less emphasis on collective family spaces, or perhaps even a degree of isolation compared to other cultures?
That's a very insightful point, because while it certainly promotes that sense of individual autonomy and privacy, which is highly valued, it can also lead to fewer shared living arrangements, less intergenerational cohabitation compared to, say, many European or Asian cultures.
Right.
It truly reflects a deeper cultural value of self-reliance, which, contrasts sharply with multi-generational living norms you see elsewhere.
And when you step inside these homes, there are common features that might surprise someone from abroad.
Yes, definitely. Houses often include dishwashers, clothes dryers, those big refrigerators.
Standard stuff here, maybe not elsewhere.
Exactly. Amenities that are considered pretty standard in American homes, but can be quite different from typical homes in other parts of the world. These features speak directly to that emphasis on convenience, on simplifying daily chores.
Freeing up time, I guess.
Allowing for more time, or at least the perception of more time, for other pursuits.
Yeah. So this emphasis on convenience, individuality, it's deeply embedded in the American home. But how does that same drive for individuality play out when Americans do connect?
The social side.
Right. That takes us to social interactions, where friendliness often seems to coexist with a really strong value on independence.
It's a fascinating balance, isn't it? Small talk, for instance, like asking, how are you? But, not really expecting a full detailed answer. That's a very common social practice.
Yeah, I mean,
it's less about a genuine deep inquiry and more of a social lubricant, a polite greeting for neighbors or strangers. It acknowledges presence without demanding deep engagement immediately.
And when it comes to actual social events, getting together, spontaneity isn't always the default mode, is it?
Not usually, no. Not for anything beyond maybe a very casual, spur-of-the-moment coffee. Most social gatherings, whether it's a dinner party, a birthday, even just catching up with friends, they're frequently planned well in advance.
Calendars out, apps involved.
Exactly, using calendars and apps. It speaks to that busy lifestyle again, where time is managed pretty closely.
That careful planning, it seems to extend to the major holidays too, which are just so deeply woven into the fabric of American culture. Thanksgiving, for example, that feels truly unique.
It absolutely is. Thanksgiving isn't primarily religious for most. It focuses almost purely on gratitude, family, and often revolves around a massive feast.
And football.
And for many, a big football game.
Yeah.
Then you have Christmas, which, while deeply religious for many Christians, also transforms into this huge cultural phenomenon. Extensive gift-giving, elaborate decorations, lights that transform entire neighborhoods sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And of course, the 4th of July. Independence Day, that's a massive summer celebration.
Oh, absolutely massive. It's all about patriotism, usually celebrated with spectacular fireworks displays.
Backyard barbecues.
Backyard barbecues everywhere, yeah. And then there's Halloween, which is such a distinctly American tradition now, it seems, involving costumes, trick-or-treating for candy, all sorts of spooky fun.
So these collective moments, whether it's a family meal, playing games, or those unique traditions like carving pumpkins, they really weave into that fabric of daily independence we talked about. It's quite a dance, isn't it? These deeply communal moments bring everyone together, yet they coexist with and perhaps even reinforce that strong underlying current of individual independence in daily American life.
That tension, or maybe that balance, is really a key insight into American society. The holidays provide these sort of designated times for deep connection, which maybe allows for the pursuit of individual goals and personal space the rest of the year.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about something deeper, a concept that truly seems to underpin so much of the culture, the American dream.
Yes, the American dream. It isn't just some vague ideal, it's a really powerful narrative about upward mobility. It's the belief that, theoretically, anyone can achieve success and a better life through hard work, regardless of their background.
Right.
It's historically fueled everything from waves of immigration to entrepreneurial spirit, often centered around paths like getting a higher education or starting your own business. It signifies freedom, opportunity, the chance to create a better life.
However, it feels crucial to acknowledge that achieving that dream, well, it isn't without significant hurdles these days.
Absolutely not.
Challenges like navigating incredibly expensive healthcare, the huge burden of student debt for many, or simply the relentless pace of busy lifestyles we've touched on. For many, these things can make that aspirational dream feel, well, increasingly out of reach.
That's very true. And yet, despite those challenges, the culture still strongly encourages individuality, self-improvement, setting goals. What's truly fascinating here is the enduring power of these ideas, that persistent drive to achieve them, even when faced with pretty significant difficulties.
Yeah.
It really shapes how individuals approach their lives and think about their futures.
So given everything we've unpacked today, these daily routines, the specific habits, the underlying values, what does this all mean for the individual navigating life in America? It suggests, I think, a really complex interplay between aspiration and reality, maybe tradition and innovation. We've taken a pretty comprehensive deep dive into the everyday rhythms, the unique habits, and those underlying values that profoundly shape the American lifestyle.
Yeah.
From the structured 9-to-5 work week all the way to the powerful, yet sometimes elusive pursuit of the American dream.
Which raises an important question for you, our listener. Given everything we've unpacked today, what aspects of the American lifestyle do you find most surprising? Or perhaps, what feels most relatable to your own culture? It's interesting to think about how these patterns of daily life reflect those deeper societal beliefs about freedom, community, success.
We certainly hope this deep dive has given you a richer understanding and maybe sparked even more curiosity for your own continued exploration of this, well, complex and dynamic culture.